light's daughter. I was born during the winter solstice, when moonlight painted the snow silver, and magic ran thick through the night air. My mother named me Luna before she died, her last breath frosting in the cold air as she pressed her silver pendant into my tiny hand. "Keep it close," she whispered. "It will protect you when I cannot." The pendant thrummed with her fading heartbeat, absorbing her final spell, a mother's desperate attempt to shield her child from what she had foreseen. My father, the king, was never the same after her death. He wandered the castle like a ghost, touching the frost patterns she had once woven into the windows, staring at the aurora she had danced with on clear nights. The servants whispered that she had been the last of the true winter witches, that her death had broken something vital in the kingdom's magic. I grew up wild and free in the northern castle, where my mother's magic still lingered in every stone. The servants taught me what they could remember of her ways, how to speak to animals, to coax plants from frozen soil, to sing songs that made the northern lights ripple and dance. My father would watch me sometimes, tears freezing on his cheeks, as I made snowflakes dance in elaborate patterns just as she once had. But everything changed when Regina arrived. I was 12 when she swept into our court in a swirl of crimson silk, bringing summer's heat to our winter castle. She was beautiful in a sharp way, all angles and red lips and eyes that burned like fever dreams. Where she walked, the ancient frost patterns melted from the windows. Where she touched, the stones grew warm. My father seemed enchanted by her, but I saw what others didn't, how the plants withered when she passed, how animals fled from her shadow, how her reflection sometimes moved independently of her body. Most disturbing of all was her obsidian mirror, a massive black glass that pulsed with an unholy light and seemed to whisper in the dark. I didn't realize she was a blood witch until it was too late. The signs were there, the servants disappearing one by one, the strange red stains that appeared and vanished in the snow, the way my father grew weaker as she grew stronger. But I was young, and grief had made me blind to everything except my own pain. I was 18 when my father died, poisoned by degrees with magic that left no trace. That same night, unable to sleep, I wandered the castle corridors and heard Regina speaking to her mirror. "The girl must die," the mirror whispered in a voice like blood dripping on ice. "Her power grows stronger each day. Soon she will be more powerful than you. Already she unknowingly unravels your spells with her mere presence. The winter magic in her blood calls to the land, threatening everything we have worked for." "Send your huntsman," Regina commanded. "Bring me her heart. With it, I can complete the ritual and claim this kingdom's magic for my own." I fled into the night with only my mother's pendant and the clothes on my back. The huntsman caught up with me at the edge of the dark forest, his bow drawn. But when our eyes met, something extraordinary happened. The pendant at my throat flared with silver light, and his eyes cleared as if waking from a dream. "Run," he growled, lowering his weapon. His eyes were a striking amber that reminded me of sunlight through autumn leaves. Something passed between us, a recognition that shook me to my core. "Run far and deep into the forest, never return." He pressed a small knife into my hand, his touch sending sparks of electricity through my skin. "I'll buy you time, but she'll know soon enough that I've betrayed her." I ran until my legs gave out, the frozen branches of the dark forest tearing at my clothes and hair. Just when I thought I couldn't take another step, I stumbled into a clearing bathed in ethereal blue light. 7 standing stones rose from the snow, each one carved with runes that glowed with inner fire. They were arranged in a perfect circle, and in the center grew a single white rose blooming impossibly in the snow. As I approached, the stones hummed with power. Forms emerged from them, not humans, but not quite spirits either. They were the guardians of the north, ancient beings of ice and starlight who protected the wild magic of the forest. They appeared as tall, luminous figures with features that shifted like aurora lights. "Daughter of the moon," they greeted me. "We have waited long for you. Your mother spoke of your coming." My mother? The word caught in my throat. "She was one of us once," said a guardian, whose form rippled with shades of violet and gold. "Before she chose to take human form, to love a human king, she knew her child would bridge both worlds." The guardians took me in, teaching me to harness the wild magic in my blood. Under their guidance, I learned to bend moonlight into shields, to speak with the winter winds, to walk in dreams. I learned that my mother had been a guardian who fell in love with my father when he was a young prince, who chose mortality to be with him. The pendant she had given me was a piece of her original form, crystallized starlight that held the essence of her power. Time moved strangely in their realm. Days might have been years or minutes. The guardians taught me that all magic had a price, that power freely given was stronger than power taken by force. Regina's blood magic was an abomination, they said, a perversion of the natural order. I thought often of the huntsman who had saved me, wondering if Regina had punished him for his betrayal. Sometimes in my dreams, I saw his amber eyes, felt the electric touch of his hand on mine. The guardians exchanged knowing looks when I woke from these dreams with frost flowers blooming around my bed. But even as I grew stronger, I felt Regina's dark magic spreading through the kingdom like poison. The mirror's power grew with each life she took, each heart she fed it. The forest itself began to sicken, the trees bleeding red sap, the animals born twisted and wrong. The guardian's power waned as the corruption spread. And then he returned, the huntsman who had spared my life. He stumbled into the clearing one night, badly wounded by Regina's shadow wolves. His clothes were torn and bloody, but his eyes blazed with the same inner fire I remembered. "Luna," he gasped as he collapsed. The sound of my name on his lips made my heart stutter. I caught him before he hit the ground, cradling his head in my lap as I called on the frost to numb his wounds. "She sent me to find you again," he managed between pained breaths as I helped him to the healing stone. "But I came to warn you instead. She knows where you are, the mirror. It sees everything. But her blood magic doesn't work on me anymore. Not since..." He reached up, his fingers brushing the pendant at my throat. "Not since you woke me up." His name was Ash, he told me as I tended his wounds. Regina had bound him to her service years ago, using blood magic to turn him into her perfect hunter. He had killed for her, and collected hearts for her dark rituals, until the moment my mother's pendant broke through her spell. "Your eyes," he murmured one night as we sat beneath the aurora, his head resting in my lap as I combed my fingers through his dark hair. "They remind me of the northern lights. When I saw them that night when your pendant glowed, I remembered who I was. It was like waking up from a nightmare into the most beautiful dream. I should have been frightened to have a hunter so close, but something about Ash called to the wild magic in my blood. As he healed, we grew closer. He taught me to track and hunt, while I showed him the secret paths of the forest. When he smiled, a rare and beautiful thing, my heart danced like moonlight on snow. The first time we kissed was during a winter storm. We had taken shelter in a cave and I was trying to start a fire with frozen fingers. Ash caught my hands in his, bringing them to his lips to warm them. The simple touch sent shivers through me that had nothing to do with the cold. "You've awakened something in me," he whispered against my skin. "Something I thought died long ago. When I'm with you, I feel whole, real, like the person I was always meant to be." When his lips met mine, magic sparked between us like the aurora painting the sky. The cave filled with soft blue light, and frost flowers bloomed on the walls in intricate patterns. His hands tangled in my hair as he pulled me closer. and I felt our hearts beating in perfect synchronization. Where our skin touched, little flares of magic danced like fireflies. "I think I've been falling in love with you since the moment you broke Regina's spell," he confessed against my lips. "Every dream, every thought, has led me back to you." But our peace couldn't last. Regina's power grew stronger with each passing day, and the forest was dying. The guardians grew restless, their forms flickering like candles in the wind. The white rose in the center of their circle began to wilt. "The mirror must be destroyed," they told me. "It is the source of her power, a portal through which she draws dark magic from the void between worlds. But only one of pure heart and wild magic can shatter it, one who carries both human love and guardian power in their blood." "I'll go with you," Ash said, when I told him I had to return to the castle. He pulled me close, his warmth chasing away the eternal winter chill. "You're not facing her alone." I shook my head, though it pained me. "Her blood magic still has some hold on you. If you come too close..." "I don't care." His hands framed my face, his amber eyes fierce with love and determination. "I lost you once. I won't lose you again. Whatever power she still has over me, my love for you is stronger. I choose you, Luna. I will always choose you." The guardians gave us their blessing and their gifts: a bow carved from ancient ice for Ash, its arrows tipped with crystallized moonlight, and for me, a crystal vial of pure starlight. "When all seems darkest," they said, "remember that love is the oldest and strongest magic of all." We returned to the castle under the cover of the longest night of the year, when Regina's power would be weakest. The journey was treacherous. Shadow wolves prowled the borders of her influence, and dark magic had twisted the familiar landscape into something nightmarish. But we had one another, and where our hands clasped, magic flowed between us like a river of light. Regina was waiting for us in the throne room. The obsidian mirror loomed behind her, its surface writhing with trapped souls. She had grown more beautiful and more terrible. Her skin was pure white, her lips blood red, her eyes burning with unholy fire. "Foolish girl," she laughed when we burst in. "Did you think I wouldn't feel you coming? Your mother couldn't stop me. What makes you think you can?" She gestured, and Ash collapsed, clutching his chest where her blood magic still bound him. "Kill her," she commanded him. "Kill your love and bring me her heart." Ash fought against her control, his body shaking with effort. "Luna," he gasped. "Run!" Instead, I ran to him, pressing my mother's pendant into his hand. The silver flared with moonlight, brighter than ever before, burning away the last traces of Regina's hold on him. He rose with a roar of defiance, firing arrow after arrow at the shadow wolves while I faced my stepmother. Regina's beauty melted away, revealing her true form, a creature of blood and shadow, with void black eyes and claws that dripped darkness. The mirror pulsed behind her, hungry for more power, more hearts. "Your mother died trying to protect you," Regina snarled, "just as this huntsman will die. Love is a weakness, girl. It always has been." But as she reached for me with claws of shadow, I uncorked the vial of starlight. It exploded outward in a wave of pure radiance, burning away her darkness. I sang the songs the guardians had taught me, weaving moonlight into chains that bound her. Ash's arrows flew true, pinning her shadows to the wall with spears of frozen light. "The mirror," he shouted. "Destroy it now." I pressed my hand to the obsidian surface, letting all my power flow through me. My mother's gift, the guardian's teachings, and most importantly, the pure, wild magic of love that bloomed between Ash and me. Cracks spread across the mirror's surface, leaking shadow. Regina screamed as her source of power shattered. Both she and the mirror exploded into 1,000 glittering shards, leaving nothing behind but a fading echo of her final cry. The trapped souls flew free, their light purifying the castle as they ascended. The castle stirred, as if waking from a long nightmare. Color returned to the walls, and the eternal winter that had gripped the kingdom began to ease. But I had used too much power. I felt myself falling, the world going dark around me. Luna. Ash caught me as I collapsed, cradling me against his chest. Stay with me, my love. Stay with me. I didn't fight my way back to you to lose you now. His lips found mine, warm and desperate, and I felt his life force flowing into me, freely given. The wild magic in my blood rose to meet it, weaving us together in ways that could never be undone. Where our tears fell, roses bloomed, white as snow with hearts of gold. When I opened my eyes, the guardians stood around us, more solid than I had ever seen them. The balance is restored, they said. Light and dark, winter and summer, wild magic and human heart. You have done what your mother dreamed of, bridged the gap between our worlds with love. We rebuilt the kingdom together, Ash and I. The people called me the Moon Queen, and him, the Hunter King. Magic returned to the land, not the dark power of blood and mirrors, but the wild magic of the forest, of moonlight and starlight and love freely given. The guardians' power flowed freely again, and the white rose in their circle bloomed eternally. On winter nights, we still visit the clearing where I first learned to harness my power. Sometimes we dance under the aurora, and flowers of frost and flame bloom where our feet touch the earth. Ash holds me close, his heart beating in time with mine, and I know that this is what my mother chose mortality for, this perfect, wild, human love. Now when I look in mirrors, I see only truth. A woman with eyes like the northern lights, a man with a heart as wild as the forest, and between us, a love strong enough to break any curse. For true love, freely given, is the most powerful magic of all.